Hi, another day, another album, and today we have A Beautiful Lie by 30 Seconds to Mars. And yes, I know, like, they're not used to be blah blah blah, they're poppy nowadays, whatever. But A Beautiful Lie was one of their first albums, came out in 2005, so 20 years ago, it's been a while. This is like peak emo pretty much. And speaking of pop and their pop tendencies, the reality is when you listen to this album, a lot of the tendencies for pop were already there. Like within emo, especially from this era, you can kind of hear the bands that, enjoyed more I guess art rock, bands that were more about like the pop stuff, and bands that were just lighter rock and everything. And I think 30 Seconds to Mars, especially in this album, it's pretty clear to see that they had a lot of influences from pop, especially where especially the singer tends to, I mean, the singer is actually really good, honestly, and probably one of the highlights of the band. But yeah, like a lot of the band sounds like just, it's sort of like this pop rock type thing, not like Imagine Dragons, but sort of on that, I mean, kind of like Imagine Dragons before Imagine Dragons, except this was a time during emo, so a lot of like the melodies and stuff like that kind of like Imagine Dragons did, you could get away with them, especially if you just added a little bit of distortion to your guitar and you were good to go. Not to say that it's bad, honestly, because I actually do enjoy, or I did enjoy this album quite a bit, as a lot of the, especially distortion, a lot of the melodies of the songs, even with the distortion of the guitars and everything, were more on the poppy side, but again, they were like pop rock, so it's not as if the band all of a sudden turned pop, I guess, and with this album you can like feel a lot of it. For the most part though, the entire album is just this, straight up rock song after rock song, just banger, emo song after emo song, just absolutely banger. And I mean, so many of them are pretty fucking iconic. Ironically though, I used to think that this album actually came out later. Like, this album was closer to, 2010 than 2000. I mean, it's right in the middle, but, I thought this album would be, like, more influenced by a lot of the emo albums that came earlier. I didn't expect it to actually come out so early, comparatively speaking, to a lot of other emo albums. So, yeah, the album is just through and through really fucking good. Pretty much every song is good. I would say though, like, one of the weirdest songs by far is The Closer, Enter, because it feels much more, how to explain, like the production is much more like experimental. It's definitely much more like alternative, where it focuses a lot on, electronic sounds, and it's sort of like this toned down song that tries to play with tension, while, the singer just fucking sings his fucking voice out for some reason. But it's actually like really cool. It creates a very really cool aspect to it all. So I find it really interesting. It's a very interesting song. It doesn't really fit the album, I would say, because like the rest of the album is just straight up like emo songs, right? So straight up, and a lot of them are very good, right? Because even songs like Re-Evolve, right, which is basically like, it's more of a poppy rendition, I would say. It's more of a pop song, like more toned down for sure. It's more of a ballad. That's what I'm going for. It's more of a ballad, but still, it still has that emo vibe to it, so it still works. But Enter is just a bit weird, but still, I think it's a good song, right? Again, like, I think this album's pretty solid. However, this album definitely is much stronger at the beginning than it is at the end. You start with Attack and then self-titled. Beautiful Lie is actually, Beautiful Lie is a very good song, honestly. I think it sometimes gets overlooked in this album, especially because you have The Kill, and you have Attack, the first song, the Fantasy, and you have From Yesterday, the more well-known songs. But Beautiful Lie is actually really nice. Personally though, I would have to say that more like, even if the beginning songs are stronger, a lot of the more interesting ones are towards the tail end of the album, right? Again, songs like Re-Evolve or The Story, Modern Myth, for example, are really solid songs, and I honestly had much more fun listening to them than I did perhaps, The Kill, and again, like, Was It a Dream, Savior, like a lot of these songs that maybe aren't as talked about in the album, to me, are actually real. Again, like, maybe it's also because The Kill is a bit overplayed and I'm kind of tired of hearing it, sure, Actually, oh no, I'm lying. I'm never tired of fucking hearing that song. Like, if it's emo, I think it's very hard for me to be tired of listening to it. I'm learning this year, actually, funnily enough, that I actually listen to way more emo than I should. Like, I didn't expect it, but I'm maybe just this year, right? Because I've always been a very metal person, you know, like, listen to a lot of metal. I also listen to a lot of EDM, especially when working. But yeah, I don't know, like, these past 2 months has just been straight up emo, like, all the fucking time, you know, especially Breaking Benjamin, you know, 3 Days Grace. Actually, I have not covered Breaking Benjamin in this channel. I need to cover Breaking Benjamin, actually. I need to get into them. I mean, I need to get... I've gotten into them. I know almost all of their discography, but I need to, like, review their albums. But yeah, basically, you know, this fits right in with that, you know, trifecta of, you know, or trifecta, or like in that group of, you know, Breaking Benjamin, Rise Against, you know, 3 Days Grace, you know, that sort of group, but yeah, like, essentially, despite being an emo album, is definitely more from a perspective of, again, like, pop. It definitely focuses way more on the melodies, focuses way more on the singing. Like, for example, one of the things that was really hard for me in this entire album to notice was the bass. You people know that I love the bass. I could not fucking find it, you know. Don't turn that into a joke, but I couldn't find the bass. But again, like, the melodies compensate so well for it. While, you know, I don't find the guitar work super impressive, while I don't find the drumming work super impressive, like, the composition of it is really impressive, you know. I think that chances are there was some, like, pop composer, like, involved in making this album, because again, like, it feels very good from a very, like, catchy perspective. A lot of the songs are really good, they feel good, the melodies feel right, but it just doesn't feel like, you know, guitar chugging along with drums, you know what I mean? Like, it has a different vibe to it. It has a more poppier vibe to it, but still, it's a honestly really good fucking album, and I don't think there's any song I actually really disliked. So you know what, it might be because I haven't slept in a while, but I'm gonna be generous, and I'm gonna give this album a 10 out of 10. I don't know, I'm just feeling it. I'm actually, like, feeling really strong towards this album. I didn't actually imagine I would enjoy it this much. I mean, I had heard a lot of the songs on this album, you know, growing up in the 2000s and all that. But honestly, like, I think it aged better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Like, for being an album that is 20 years old, this is, like, really good, actually. So yeah, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, and I'll see you tomorrow.